Here is Isaiah 45. Thus says the Lord to his anointed Cyrus, whose right hand I have held, to subdue nations before him and loose the armor of kings, to open before him the double doors so that the gates will not be shut. I will go before you and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of bronze and cut the bars of iron. I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that I, the Lord, who call you by your name, am the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake and Israel my elect, I have even called you by your name. I have named you, though you have not known me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. There is no God besides me. I will gird you, though you have not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun to its setting that there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. Whoa. I, the Lord, do all these things. So here, talking about Cyrus, this guy's not a believer. He has no regard for for Yahweh. And he's saying, I've purposed that you are going to do this, right? This is my plan. You're going to punish Israel. So that's why I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. Now in Hebrew, this can mean calamity or circumstances, not that God actually creates evil. Let's look at Proverbs 16:4. This is a real tough one if you hold the Augustinian Calvinist view, the Stoic view. The Lord has made all for himself, yes, even the wicked for the day of doom. Well, that's exactly where Pink gets this view, that God created persons purposely for damnation to show his justice and his need for righteousness and to punish evil. But that's not the context. That's not what the verse means, right? Proverbs 16:1-5. The preparations of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits. Commit your works to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established. The Lord has made all for himself, yes, even the wicked for the day of doom. Everyone proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though they join forces, none will go unpunished. Here's where translation makes a big difference. This is a literal Hebrew translation of that. All Yahweh has made for his answer or response, and also the criminal or wicked for the day, time of evil, misery, distress, or injury, right? So that is a literal translation. And I would suggest the way to understand this verse is as such. All Yahweh has made for his response, and also the criminal or wicked for the time of distress or injury. Everyone proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though they join forces, none will go unpunished. So what he's saying here is that Yahweh does make everyone, and those who respond in wickedness will not go unpunished. It does not say God specifically made this person to damn them in punishment for sin. The proud in heart, they're an abomination. Though they join forces, they'll not go unpunished for their evil. That is the point of the passage. It does not say God made them to damn them in hell for their sin. Let's look at Proverbs 21. The king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. Every man appears to himself righteous, but the Lord guides better, will prosper, will cause to prosper, will succeed in, will achieve the end, will render straight the heart. This isn't like God guides the heart and manipulates the heart to where he wants. That's not a Jewish or Christian understanding. Here is the correct way to translate this. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord like rapidly moving water in a canal of water, since every height he bends down, turning it. Every man appears righteous to himself, but the Lord will estimate, Hebrew call, the heart or render the heart straight, meaning achieve the goal in the Septuagint. That's how it's translated. So the Jews did not understanding that God was literally taking somebody's heart and guiding it the way he wanted it to go. Not at all. That is, again, imposed on the text by the Stoic Augustinian Calvinist view. Proverbs 16:9. A mind plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Now, the typical Stoic Augustinian Calvinist view says, yeah, there shows it. Man can make up his mind, but God is the one that makes it happen. He may want to go this way, and God's going to say, nope, you're going this way. God is sovereign in that sense. But here is a better translation. Man's inner man, or mind, or heart, devises or plans his way, road, distance, journey, manner, but the Lord prepares or fixes the step or pace. Perfectly legitimate translation of the Hebrew. Man's mind plans his journey, but the Lord prepares the pace. Wow. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? Not that the Lord turns him and makes him go some other way. So that is the better translation that's not biased by a Stoic view of God and Calvinist theology. And then a very similar passage, the preparations of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Well, why is the answer from Yahweh? Well, James 4 makes that very clear. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Well, why does the Lord do that? Because we could die. We can't say we're going to do this or that. We can prepare, but the answer is from the Lord, because if we don't live, we're not going to have that preparation done. Very clear that it is not saying He manipulates everything, but He is making that happen through other events. Isaiah 48, 3 through 8. I have declared the former things from the beginning. They went forth from my mouth, and I caused them to hear it. Suddenly I did them, and they came to pass. Whole context, because I knew that you were obstinate, and your neck was an iron sinew, and your brow bronze. Wow. So what does that tell us? Because I knew? He declared because He knew. Wow. That's foreknowledge, that He did something based upon foreknowledge of who they were. Even from the beginning, I've declared it to you. Before it came to pass, I proclaimed it to you, lest you should say, my idol has done them, and my carved image and my molded image have commanded them. You have heard, see all this, and will you not declare it? I have made you hear new things from this time, even hidden things, and you did not know them. They are created now and not from the beginning, and before this day you have not heard them, lest you should say, of course I knew them. Surely you did not hear, surely you did not know. Surely from long ago your ear was not opened. For I knew that you would deal very treacherously and were called a transgressor from the womb. Wow. At the beginning and the end. Do you see that? Look at it. Because I knew that you were obstinate at the beginning, after that passage quoted, and at the end, for I knew that you would deal very treacherously. So it is God's foreknowledge that caused Him to declare former things from the beginning and make them happen. He foreknows, and by foreknowledge, that is how He deals. If you don't read the whole passage, you miss the context. How about Ephesians 1:11? Being predestinated according to the purpose of Him who works all things according to the counsel of His will. So there we have it. God works all things after the counsel of His own will. The problem here is not limiting the all to the context. If we try to make this mean He purposed every single detail, every minutia, we've gone from Christianity to Stoicism. So let's read the whole passage. That in the dispensation of the fullness of the times He might gather together in one all things in Christ, both which are in heaven and which are on earth in Him. In Him also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of Him who works all things according to the counsel of His will, that we who first trusted in Christ should be to the praise of His glory. If you compare that with Romans 8:29, we are predestined to being conformed to the image of His Son for those who love God and they're called according to His purpose. So it's not everything. It is that we who first trusted in Christ should be to the praise of His glory. He's working all things in that counsel of His desire that we who trusted in Christ should end up being like Him in glory to the praise of His glory. It is limited by the context. In that mind of the Christians instead of the Stoics, when you look at these scriptures, I want you to ask several questions. When you read Pink, when you read Clark, ask several questions. What presuppositions do they have? How does their view of providence and sovereignty compare with Augustine's Stoic philosophy? How did the Jews and early Christians interpret these scriptures? Are there alternate interpretations? And why should we be cautious of this view, the Stoic view of micromanaging providence? A cautious, reasoning, thinking theologian will ask these questions before buying the views of the Stoic, Augustinian, Calvinist mindset.